What is 3060 written in exponential form? In exponential form, the power of 10 tells us the number of zeros that are intended. So, when we have 10 to the power of 3, we have 3 zeros, 1,000. 10 to the power of 2, 2 zeros, 100. 10 to the power of 1, 1 zero, 10. And then we'll expect 10 to the power of 0 not to have any 0 at all, so that will be 1. Any number raised to the power of 0 is equal to 1, and this applies to 10 also. As a matter of fact, the 0 power tells us that the number will not have any 0. So write down the number 3060. Write down the place values. And those are the regular place values: ones, tens, hundreds, thousands. Replace the regular place values with their exponential forms. 10 to the power of 0 goes for ones. For tens we are going to have 10 to the power of 1. For hundreds we have 10 to the power of 2. And for 1,000, 10 to the power of 3. The answer may now be written in exponential form. So there we have 3 and 10 to the power of 3. So 3 multiplied by 10 to the power of 3. Then what do we have? 0 and 10 to the power of 2. Plus 0 times 10 to the power of 2. Then 6 and 10 to the power of 1. Plus 6 times 10 to the power of 1. And finally 0 and 10 to the power of 0. So 0 multiplied by 10 to the power of 0. The answer is option D. Which expression describes the rule in the sequence 2, 4, 8, 16? Option A is the one that many students may erroneously choose for the correct answer. If the student does not know what n means, he may want to multiply the first number in this series by 2. So 2 multiplied by 2 is equal to 4. He may then want to multiply the 4 that was received by 2. So 4 multiplied by 2 is equal to 8. And so on. He will then think that he has the correct answer. Surely, the terms of a sequence are generated, but not in the correct way. N is to be selected from the set of counting numbers beginning with 1, then increasing by 1 all the time. So let us see what will be the result of option A. 1 multiplied by 2 is equal to 2. 2 multiplied by 2 is equal to 4. 3 multiplied by 2 is equal to 6. And 4 multiplied by 2 is equal to 8. Now, when we are writing a sequence, notice that the counting numbers are here 1, 2, 3, 4. So the rule is going to be applied to the counting numbers in the sequence 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we are multiplying by 2. So we are going to take the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4 in that order. So we say then 1 multiplied by 2. The result is 2. Then 2 multiplied by 2. The result is 4. Then we move to 3 and we do the same thing to 3. Then we move to 4. We do the same to 4. And if we have 5, we do the same to 5. On and on and on. Therefore, the rules should be applied to the counting numbers 1, 2, 3, 4. By applying the rule to the counting numbers, what do we realize? At first, the sequence seems to be holding up, but it falls apart when n is equal to 3 and when also n is equal to 4. These are the values of n. What does option B have to offer? So in option B, what are we going to do? We are adding also because it says n plus 2. So what is n? Don't forget that n represents the counting numbers. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So what is n? 1. 1 plus 2 is 3. 2 plus 2 is 4. 3 plus 2 is 5. So all the time we are adding 2 to the counting numbers as it is stated there, n, the counting number, plus 2. Option B gives the correct answer in only one single case, and this is by chance, coincidental. Option C is ridiculous with the first term being less than 1. So if we have n minus 2 here, what is our first number that we're going to use? The first counting number. The first counting number is 1. Therefore, we are saying 1 minus 2, and that number is going to be a negative number. So we are sure that option C is going to be ridiculous. The terms that are generated by option D are as follows. So let us put in for option D. We are saying 2 to the power of n. Let us write every term down first. So we are saying 2 to the power of, remember that n is 1, 2, 3, 4. Those are the values of n. So 2 to the power of 1 is 2, 2 to the power of 2 is 4, 2 to the power of 3 is 8, 2 to the power of 4 is 16. Option D is the correct answer. And do not forget that when a sequence is generated by using a rule or an arithmetic rule, as we have in these cases, n represents the counting numbers beginning with 1. The correct option is therefore option D. What is the ratio of Mary's money to John's money? And we have Mary's amount is $20 and John's amount is $24. So write the figures in the amounts of money as a ratio. We need the ratio of Mary's to John's. So Mary's to John's. So Mary's amount will go first. So that's our ratio. The numbers in the ratio have a common factor of 4. We may therefore reduce that ratio by the common factor. And the common factor is 4. So 4 into 20 is 5. And 4 into 24 is 6. So the correct answer is 5 to 6. And this is in option A. If we made a mistake and we would have placed John's amount first, then we would have received C for our answer, and that would have been incorrect. Remember, it says Mary's to John's. So Mary's amount should go first. So the correct answer is option A. what is the ratio of Mary's money to the total amount of money? Of course, we need the ratio of Mary's amount to the total. We therefore need to find the total first. So let us add them. 20 plus 24 is equal to 44. So we have $44. Write the figures in the amounts of money as a ratio. Of course, it says Mary's amount to the total amount. Therefore, Mary's amount will go first as required by the question. The numbers in the ratio again have a common factor of 4. We may therefore reduce the ratio by the common factor. 4 into 20 is 5. 4 into 44 is 11. The correct answer is option B, 5 to 11. And if we made a mistake and placed the total amount first, then we would have received option A for our answer, and that would have been incorrect. The ratio says Mary's amount to the total amount. Mary's amount goes first. A storm hit land in Jamaica in the year MMIV. What year is that? First, let us recall the symbols used in Roman numerals and their values. Of course, we only have M, M, I, and V, but we are going to be reminded of all of them. I is 1, X 10, V 5, L 50, C 100, D 500, M 1000. Notice that there is no symbol for 1 million. In the olden days, a million was a large figure, and no one needed to count up to millions. And of course, if you read the scripture, you will realize that the Bible never uses the word million. If you see a million, it was not in the original text, it's just in the translation. But in the olden days, 1,000 used to be the greatest figure. When writing a number, the symbols are written with the largest first. So that's a general rule. And they are written from left to right. In this case, the values of the numbers are added. If this law is violated, that is, the law that says the big must go first and the small goes next. But if that law is violated and a small number comes before a large number, the small number is subtracted from the large number. So let us take a look at the numbers that are given. We have MMIV. In the number, the M's are first. They do not come before any symbols greater in value than them. So all we do is just add the M's. So add the thousands. So the M and the M means we are going to add the value of the M to the value of M. So that's what we have right there. I comes before V. What does I represent? 1. What does V represent? 5. In the general rule, the V should go before the 1. And then we will continue adding. However, the I comes before the V, so because the small comes before the large, we subtract. So 5 minus 1 will go next, which is 4. So next we are going to add 4. The sum is 2004, and this is represented by option C. What is the sum of the factors of 12 that are between 5 and 13? Factors of 12 are those numbers that can divide into 12 without leaving a remainder. There are only two between 5 and 13. And what are they? The numbers are 6 and 12. 12 is included because every number is a factor of itself. So the only numbers between 5 and 13 that can go into 12 without leaving a remainder, or we may say 12 is divisible by those numbers. Those numbers are 6 and 12. And of course, the question requires that we add them. So 6 plus 12 is equal to 18. The answer is therefore option B. If 5 strawberries cost the same as 12 oranges, how many oranges cost the same as 15 strawberries? So let us use ratios to solve this problem. So let us say S for strawberries and O for oranges. The first ratio will be S to O. This is to show that in the ratios, because we have to keep our order, we have to keep a proper order. This is to show that in the ratios, strawberries always go first. So we always have strawberry first, and that is why we are saying S to O. That means when we are writing another ratio, the number of strawberries will have to go first. So 5 strawberries cost the same as 12 oranges. So strawberry will go first. Write the number of strawberries and the number of oranges in a ratio, with the number of strawberries going first. 5 to 12. How many oranges cost the same as 5 strawberries? We need to determine the number of oranges that will cost the same as 5 strawberries. So let us also put this information in a ratio. Strawberries go first as usual, and we do not know the number of oranges. So let us call the number of oranges O. Let us write the two ratios as fractions, equate them, and solve the equation to determine the value of O. So let us write the ratios as fraction first. And writing the ratios as fraction, the first number is the numerator and the second number is the denominator. So let's go. Five twelfths Jerry is saying 15 oaths. No, Jerry, it's just 15 divided by O, or 15 over O. So let us equate them and cross multiply. When we cross multiply, we get O to be multiplied by 5, so we get 5O, and 12 to be multiplied by 15. What is 12 multiplied by 15? Is equal to 180. So find O by dividing by 5 on the right hand side. So if 5 multiplied by O is equal to 180, then we need to divide both sides by 5. So when we divide both sides by 5, the 5 on this side will cancel with this 5 and O is left. And then we'll divide 180 by 5 as we have right there, and the answer is 36. And the correct option is D. Now we have the same problem and it is easy to solve. We may get the answer very quickly. So we can just look at this and say, instead of going for some strict mathematical principles and devices, we could have arrived at our answer much quicker. Look at the first numbers in the ratios. 5 goes down to 15. The bottom number is 3 times the value of the top number, so 5 multiplied by 3 is 15. So 12 multiplied by something gives O. So 5, 3 is 15, so 12 times 3 will give O. So if the same principle is carried to the second set of numbers, then the value of O should be 3 multiplied by 12, which is equal to 36. Of course, that's very simple. There are 40 students in a class. 12 of them are boys. What percentage is boys? We are actually attempting to answer the question, what is 12 as a percentage of 40? Therefore, 12 is divided by 40 and the result is multiplied by 100. So 12 over 40 multiplied by 100, and of course 100 may be written as a fraction, that is equal to 100 over 1. We may first reduce the fractions by 20. 20 into 40 is 2 and 20 into 100 is 5. So 20 into 40, 2, 20 into 100 is 5. Of course, the fractions may then be reduced by 2. 2 into 2 is 1 and 2 into 12 is 6. Now, 6 multiplied by 5 is equal to 30, which is 30 over 1. Any number divided by 1 is that same number. So 30 divided by 1 is equal to 30. The result is therefore 30%. And that is represented by option C. What is the area of the diagram if each little rectangle represents 2 centimeters squared? All we need to do is find the number of squares and multiply it by the area of the little square. And what is the area of the little square? 2 centimeters squared. We do not need to count the squares individually. Just count the number of squares horizontally. And horizontally, we have 6 squares. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Count the number of squares vertically. The number of squares vertically is equal to 5. So, multiply the two numbers. 6 multiplied by 5 is equal to 30. There are 30 squares. Multiply the number of squares, which is 30 squares, by the size of each square. The size of each square is 2 centimeters squared. So 30 multiplied by 2 centimeters squared, 30 times 2 is 60. The answer is 60 centimeters squared. And this is option A. Which units are most suitable for measuring bulk syrup and meat? 1 liter is comparable to a quart, and a kilogram is approximately 2.2 pounds. These units will be the most suitable for measuring bulk syrup and meat. Of course, milliliter and gram, those are very small. Centiliter and centigrams, those are small also. But of course, we would not use a liter along with centigram, although liter may be used. So the correct answer is option A. What part of a circle is always half of its diameter? There is our circle. A diameter of a circle is a line that goes from one point on the circumference to the other point or another point on the circumference, and it also passes through the center. So that is our diameter. A radius is a line that goes from one point on the circumference to the center. So there is our radius. The radius is half of the diameter, and the correct answer is option C. The circumference is the entire distance around the circle. A chord is any part of the circumference. There is no simple comparison between those curved parts of a circle and those that are straight line segments. So those will not be comparable, and we will stick to option C. What unit is most suitable for measuring the mass of a person? I have never heard of a single person who weighs a ton. Have you, Jerry? Jerry, a ton is 1,000 kilograms. And a kilogram is 2.2 pounds, Jerry. Jerry, that means 1 ton is 2,200 pounds. Come on, Jerry. You have never seen such a person. A kilogram is approximately 2.2 pounds. These units are comparable, and the mass of a person may be measured in kilogram, not tons. The answer is option B. To measure the mass of a person in the smaller units indicated in option C and D would be outrageous. Approximately how many 1 centimeter cubes can this regular prism hold? To find the number of cubes that it holds, we need to find its volume. This is because volume is given in the cube of the unit used. So they are saying how many 1 centimeter cubes can fit into that prism that we have there. And of course, because they say cube, we know that they are talking about volume, because volume is measured in the cube of the units that are specified. So the volume of a cuboid is given by V is equal to length multiplied by width multiplied by height. So the length is 10 centimeters. The width is 5 centimeters. The height is 4 centimeters. So volume is equal to 10 multiplied by 5 multiplied by 4. So V is equal to 200 centimeters cubed. The original statement of the problem may be interpreted as how many 1 centimeter cubes can go into the cuboid. This is more reflective of what is required. How many times can 1 centimeter cube go into 200 centimeter cube. This is a division problem, and a simple one at that, because we are just dividing by 1. So 200 divided by 1 is equal to 200. The answer is option D. The distance between Kingston and Montego Bay is approximately 200 kilometers. What will be the distance between them on a map if 50 kilometers is equal to 1 centimeters on the map? Let us highlight and examine the figures in the scale. So we have 50 kilometers is equal to 1 centimeter on the map. That's not in real life. That is a scale for a map. So notice that the number 1 represents the distance on the map, and it is smaller than the number 50, representing the distance in actuality. The distance from Kingston to Montego Bay is 200 kilometers in actuality. Because we do not know the distance on the map as yet, let us call it x. Right, so we have them. In the same way. 50 kilometers equal 1 centimeter. 200 kilometer, x. As we saw before, the number on the actual side is larger than the number on the map side. So this is for actuality and this is for the map. The numbers over here are larger. If we want to maintain this consistency, bearing in mind that the value of x must be smaller than 200, because if we want to say we are going to use this as a guide, the number that is going to be on this side must be smaller than the number that we have on this side, because on the scale that is given, 50 is large, 1 is small. So if we want to bear this consistency in mind, the value of x must be smaller than 200. So we need to divide. So we are going to divide by 50 then. The answer is option C. Divide by 50. Because see, big, small. Big to get to small, we have to divide also. Although subtraction gives a smaller figure, it is not a typical operation in ratios and scale. So when dealing with ratios and scale of a map and those figures, subtraction is not an appropriate operation. So we are going to stick with option C. $13 buns cost $25. What operation will give the cost of 10 similar buns? In a problem of this nature, we usually find the cost of 1, then multiply by the number of them that we need to know the cost of. So we need to know the cost of 10. So in the end, we are going to multiply by 10. But we need to find the cost of 1 bun. So we know that the cost of 13 buns is $25. In order to determine the cost of 1, we need to divide the cost of 13, which is the cost of 13 is $25. We need to divide $25 by 13. So the cost of 1 is 25 over 13. Now that we know the cost of 1, we may find the cost of 10 by multiplying by 10. The cost of 10 is 25 over 13 multiplied by 10. So 10 can be written as 10 over 1. The expression becomes 25 over 13 multiplied by 10 over 1. Multiply the numerators and denominators in the form dictated by the answers that we have in the options. Notice that in the option we have 25 multiplied by 10 over 13, 25 multiplied by 13 over 10, and so on. So we are going to do that the same way. We're going to use that same format and see which one is correct. So it is 25 multiplied by 10 over 13, and that is what we have right there. The answer is option A. Elizabeth is Y years old and her sister Anne-Marie is twice as old. The sum of their ages is 21 years. Which math sentence correctly represents this information? So Elizabeth is Y years old. If Anne-Marie is twice as old, twice means 2 times. So Anne-Marie's age is 2 multiplied by Y. 2 multiplied by Y is 2Y. The sum of their ages is what? Elizabeth is Y and Anne-Marie is 2Y. So Y plus 2Y is equal to 3Y. The sum of their ages is also equal to 21. So 3Y is equal to 21. This answer is option D. So 3Y is equal to 21 is represented by option D. Take pi to be 22 over 7 and the point C as the center of the circle. Find its circumference. The circumference of a circle is given by C is equal to 2 multiplied by pi multiplied by r. And it says r is the radius of the circle, which is 14 centimeters. Pi is equal to 22 divided by 7. So C is equal to 2. Pi is 22 over 7 and r, the radius, is 14. The expression may be reduced by a common factor of 7. So 7 into 14 will give 2. So we have 2 multiplied by 22 and 7 into 14 is 2. So C is equal to 2 multiplied by 22 multiplied by 2. C is equal to 88 centimeters. The answer is option D. See, 2 multiplied by 22 is 44, and then 44 multiplied by 2 is 88. The correct answer is D. What is the correct operation to change 150 minutes to hours? So let us write the equation relating minutes and hours. 60 minutes equal 1 hour. Examine the numbers on both sides of the equation. Notice that the number on the minute side, which is 60, is larger than the number on the hour side, which is 1. We need to change 150 minutes to hours. So place the 150 on the minutes side and use X to represent the number of hours that we do not know as yet. As we saw before, the number on the minute side is larger than the number on the hour side. If we want to maintain this consistency, bearing in mind that the value of x must be smaller than 150, we need to divide. So if we put them down like this, the number on this side is always going to be smaller. See, 1 is smaller, very much smaller than 60. So if we have minutes here and we are converting it to hours, the numbers that we are going to get on this side has to be smaller. Therefore, we will get smaller by multiplying. No, we'll get smaller by dividing by 50. So the correct answer should be 150 divided by 60 and not 60 divided by 150. This is because 60 needs to be the multiplier, or in this particular case, the divisor. The answer is option A, which will give the value of pi. To answer this question, we may make use of the definition of pi. So, what is the definition of pi? Pi is defined as the ratio of the circumference of a circle to its diameter. So, based on the definition alone, the correct answer is option D, circumference divided by diameter. We may also make use of the formula relating the circumference C of a circle and its diameter D. C is equal to pi D, or C is equal to pi times D. We need the value of pi. It is being multiplied by D on the right hand side, so we need to find out what pi is. Because it's being multiplied by D here, to find what pi is, we need to eliminate D from this side. And if it is being multiplied, we'll have to divide. So we are going to divide by D on this side, but because this expression is an equation that has to be balanced, we need to divide by D on both sides. The D's will cancel on the right hand side. So here we have D above and D below. So we have numerator, denominator will cancel. So D will cancel, and we have what? C over pi on the left hand side, and on the right hand side we have pi. So we have C over D on the left hand side, and on the right hand side we have pi. The answer is circumference, which is circumference divided by diameter, and this is also represented by option D, and we have confirmed that our choice of option D was correct in the first place. What is the length of L in this shape if the perimeter is 70 centimeters? The perimeter of a polygon is found by adding all of the sides. So, L plus 11 plus 12 plus 10 plus 14 plus 9. The perimeter is also equal to 70. So when we have added all of those, we are going to say the answer is 70. Add the values of the known sides. So we are going to add these. When we add all of these, we may use a strategy. 11 plus 9 is 20, and 20 plus 10 is 30, and then we have this plus this, 12 plus 14 is 26. So we had 30 before. 30 plus 26 is 56. So L plus 56 is equal to 70. And of course, we are going to do that like an equation where 56 is added on the left hand side. We therefore need to find L, eliminating 56 from the left hand side. If it is added, we need to subtract. And because that's an equation, we need to subtract 56 from both sides. And the net effect will be that 56 is subtracted from the right hand side, because of course the positive 56 minus 56 on the left hand side will eliminate each other. So L is equal to 70 minus 56, and that is equal to 14 centimeters. The answer is option C. And that is our last problem in this section of problem paper 3.